Hi, it's Myrna. Thanks for joining me in my studio. I actually wrote some notes today. Making this video has been so scattered. It's been filmed over several days with several different hairstyles, with several different outfits. So hang in there through the disjointed stuff and hopefully it goes well. Happy New Year! I am wishing you the absolute best in 2026 and everything you need for the inevitable ups and downs, because they definitely come, but we want them to go quick. I'm really looking forward to it. I feel quite focused and ready for the new year. So let's talk about what I'm wearing. I'll pop some pictures in. The top is my adaptation of Butterick 5786, where I eliminated the buttons, changed the neckline, created a shirt tail hemline, and basically invented a new pattern. The pants are Vogue 9114. The picture on this envelope doesn't do it any favors. I love the details of these pants. I started this pair sometime in June. It was supposed to be ready for August for my high school reunion. It wasn't. I think I finished them in October, and today, the 31st of December, is the first time I've ever worn them. They're a beautiful medium weight linen with a little bit of a fleck in the color. Really comfortable. Now that I've started wearing them, I think I'm going to enjoy them. The problem was trying to figure out what to wear on top. I am not 100% comfortable with blouses yet, but I'm working on that. So there are timestamps down in the description. We've said hello, we've talked about what I'm wearing. I am going to share something from last year's collage that finally makes sense, tell you about this bag, and then about sorting through my patterns and choosing my crossover project. I think at the very end, I will create a slideshow of some of the inspiration photographs I have of ideas that I would like to put into my garments over the next year. All right, my dog's about to jump. In my last video, I talked about my yearly tradition of making a collage. The question that guides each collage is basically a prayer asking God, what does the next year hold? Last year, I didn't understand a whole lot of my collage, and that's partly it, to have it unfold over the year. I only just yesterday figured out the meaning of one picture, and it's this one right here. It's a picture of a cottage-style house with a front porch, which I love. It's inside a fenced yard, again, which I love, but it has a sign hanging that, oh, I got the wrong glasses on to read it, but I think it's about a studio, or it led me to believe this was about a studio. When I put that picture on there, I knew that I liked a lot of the aesthetic of it, but the idea that this represented an outside studio, I just couldn't get my head around it, because I knew that I could not afford that, and I didn't want the risk of that. But I guess the longing for what I thought an outside studio would add to my life was still there. About 4 weeks ago, I was driving past an area where there is a little house like that I thought would be a lovely studio. And I remember thinking, I don't need an outside studio. I don't want one anymore. Whoa, it's been years, possibly decades, of wanting an outside studio. And I had just put that down. I figured it had to do with the fact that I have changed my primary art form, the one that I do as a business, to contemporary basket making, and I no longer do that in this studio. I do it downstairs. It all fits in a little basket. It's quite lovely. And this upstairs studio has become about clothing, and it's more personal. As I was changing out the collage for this year, I happened to see that number 16 there. I had never noticed it before. And it's not like it's tiny. It's a big 16. My unit number is 16. This picture was about finding peace in the studio at home. I just love that, and being comfortable here and wanting to be here and looking to fill those other outside studio components in different ways. Part of it was about connection, about, you know, it sounds pathetic when you say it out loud, but how many of us are happy alone but lonely on a certain level? We want to make connections, especially around the things that we enjoy. I have, over this past year, become a little more connected with creative women in my community and the YouTube channel. And so I feel like I'm saying "and" every 2 seconds. That's been fulfilled. I understand everything else at this point. How fun. I don't know what's next on the list. Next on the list is to tell you about the bag. It's in a different outfit. Maybe 2 of them, I don't know. This is a new journal bag that is almost finished. I'll show you it finished later in the video. It's this dome shape, very similar to the pouches. And I'm trying the exact same method rather than how I've sewn them before. I started by using a woven fusible interfacing on the back of the front fabric, which is a printed lightweight canvas. Then I did the same on the lining fabric. For the lining fabric, I decided to use the other side instead of the one with the clearer print. I wanted to make sure that I used stuff that I had in my studio. So I had enough yardage of the black, I had enough yardage of the dots, which I had actually bought to make a bag with. The handles are webbing. I took the strip that I had, I cut it in half, and that's the length of the handles. I cut a 2.5-inch width of the fashion fabric with interfacing on it, folded the raw edges to the middle, top stitched the sides, and then laid the webbing over, join, and zigzagged it in place. I attached the front fabric to the purse foam and then stitched all the handles and details. This is an embossed metallic leather, and this is the opposite side. Half a circle, 3/4 of a circle. These are shank buttons from my stash. I had 4 was perfect. Once I had the foam and the top fabric all completed with the stitching, I then had done the same thing with the lining. I'd already sewn a pocket into it with the right side up and laid those 2 pieces wrong sides together, and then I stitched in 3 lines here to make sure that the bottom is going to stay nicely without sagging or pulling up. At this point, I have cut strips of bias that I will be sewing to this edge, wrapping up and around, and by the looks of it, using the more subtle side, and then putting the zipper in, sewing the corners together, and done. I'll show you that in a couple minutes. I was laughing because I told you that I'd be back in a minute. Well, in a minute was several hours with other things in between, but I'm back, and here's the bag. It stands up nicely by itself. I used a gunmetal zipper with 2 zipper tabs so I can open it in both directions. On the sides, I stitch fabric over the zipper to this point so that the bag will never just fall right open. But because I also have 2 zippers, I can keep that opening as high or low as I would like it to be. This is the side with the pocket on the inside, and I also put a pocket on the outside. If I do that, I tend to make them on opposite sides. I got my very first ever cell phone in the fall of 2023 for my very first camping trip. I had bought myself a vintage camper, and I went on my first camping trip in over 30 years. My children decided I needed a cell phone, just in case. It was between two cities. It should have been fine. I treat it like a phone. It stays on the counter in my house. I do not carry it around with me unless I have an appointment or I'm heading out of town after my journal time. And then I will just put it in this little pocket. This one is for my extra pens and stuff, and my books will fit in there nicely. I'm really happy with how that turned out. As I was making it, I used some quick techniques that I wouldn't have used in the past because this bag is for me. One of the things was I did not finish this seam. I stitched it. I took a black felt pen and covered any of the white with it. Then I zigzagged it tight, and that was it. And I felt a huge sense of relief that I wasn't having to make it in any way as perfect as possible because it was a class sample, or it was to illustrate a pattern, or it was for sale. It was good and enough, and it was just for me. I realized how much I don't want to do that anymore. I've made about 18 pouches since I started that, and I had some left from previously, and I'm fairly sure I'm not going to make any more. I think my bag phase is at an end. It was a relief to know that that is done. I think that's one of the great messages when we know to start something or to stop something. And I have heard clearly, bags are done. Yay! Okay, let's see what's next. So that was the journal bag. As you can tell, it's still flat. I didn't use it this morning yet. You can see how long it took me to wear the pants. I have no idea what's going on. It's very difficult for me sometimes, for no understandable reason that I have figured out yet, to transition into new things. By the way, the camera went back. When I started watching the video, I realized I had purchased way too much camera. I did not want to learn how to set that up every time I wanted to take a picture or a video or a whatever. So I have ordered a different one, way less expensive, which is nice. And it is basically a point-and-shoot vlogging camera designed by Canon in their PowerShot series. The camera I'm using right now is part of that series, which leads me to believe that I may understand the setup of it. And certainly I watched a video where all the person did was take it out of the box, charge the battery, turn it on, and hit record, and it worked like that. We'll see how that goes. Next is about sorting through my pattern stash. Today is a super lazy day. It's Sunday, December 28th. It's snowing outside and cold, and I don't even have foundation on. I'm just having a lazy day at home, letting my dog chew me up. This cabinet is my patterns. This top drawer is stationery supplies and cords for cameras and all that sort of stuff. But the two bottom ones are my pattern drawers. And I'm about to go through them now to sort them out and just find the project, the crossover project that I want to do. Also, as I'm going through, I will keep in mind the things I learned about myself this year, for instance, A-line skirts, and any patterns that are in a category that was a definite no, I will weed those out as well. My definition of hoarding is keeping things I won't use that other people could, because I'm sort of an essentialist. I don't say minimalist because I have more than that, but I'm an essentialist in that I only keep what I will actually use. I am going to start going through these, and we'll see what ends up being my project. And apparently you're gonna help me? The idea of me sitting on the floor is just too appealing, is it? I'm taking them all out, and I'll put them back in as I sort through them. They are stored by category. Pants, skirts, dresses, lingerie, coats, kids, that kind of thing. And then I have a few that have been here forever that I really need to think about making because I still love it but haven't done it. After sorting through all the patterns, these are the ones that I think I'm going to keep. As I put them back in the drawer, I'll look to see if I'm keeping some that are similar. And if I am, is there any advantage to having both? Is there something on one of them that would make me not make it anyway? These are coats, dresses, skirts, jacket, like sweatshirts and things, vests, bags, kids, pajamas, purses, tops, and pants. This is the pile of the patterns that are leaving. Some of them are a similar style duplicate to what I was just talking about. Some of them are ones that I've had forever and really like, but there isn't a hope. It's not going to happen. Some are ones that I bought for a reason, like the cardigan here. And when I sewed it, it was just not me. And for the rest of the pattern, I have other ones that are better. So those will be going to the thrift store. The other ones will go back in the drawer. These are the parts and pieces of my crossover project. I was just editing the previous parts of the video and the total time is around 18 minutes. I tried to keep my videos under 15 minutes. The average viewing time, thank you to those of you who stay right to the end, but the average viewing time is around 3.5, 4 minutes, which I tried to figure out what happened at that point that they left. Anyway, this video is getting too long. I will talk about the crossover project and put the inspiration slideshow in another video. It should be up about the same time within a day of each other. So thanks for being here. I hope you'll share my next journey where I can tell you about this project. I'm looking forward to it. And again, have a happy new year.